Why did Steve Jobs meditate for an hour a day, studying this unknown German teacher? The secret Eckhart Tolle revealed about inner stillness is about to cure your anxiety in under a minute. Breathe deeply, because what you're about to discover isn't just a technique. It's the end of the war you wage against your own mind every day. It's the end of the unnecessary suffering you carry around as if it were part of who you are. You know this feeling, don't you? That constant inner turmoil. Like something is always wrong, always missing. Like you're chasing something you can never quite catch. Your thoughts never stop. They judge every situation, compare you to others, worry about 1,000 scenarios that probably won't happen, project imaginary catastrophes into the future. And you simply get tired of carrying this restless mind, this insatiable mind, this mind that always finds something to worry about. But what if I told you that you are not your mind, that there's something within you much deeper, much quieter, much more powerful, something that never worries, never suffers, never conflicts? Steve Jobs discovered this through Eckhart Tolle. Oprah Winfrey discovered it. Jim Carrey discovered it. Millions around the world discovered it through a man who underwent such a radical transformation that it completely changed our understanding of human consciousness. And today, you will discover it too. Because what Tolle teaches isn't superficial self-help. It's not temporary motivation. It's not positive thinking that lasts a few hours. It's something far more radical and permanent. It's the direct recognition of who you truly are, beneath all those tormenting thoughts, beneath all those overwhelming emotions, beneath all that mental turmoil you've learned to call normal. But before I show you how to access that instantly healing stillness, I need to tell you something that will completely change your perspective on all the suffering you've ever experienced in your life. The most shocking discovery Tolle made was this: 99% of your suffering is completely unnecessary. You don't suffer because of what happens to you. You suffer because of the story your mind tells about what happens to you. And these stories are always about a time that doesn't exist, the past that's gone, or the future that hasn't arrived. Think about this deeply. When was the last time you really suffered in the present moment? Not thinking about something that happened yesterday, not worrying about something that might happen tomorrow, but suffering from what's happening right now. It's almost impossible, isn't it? Most people think they need to solve all their problems to find peace. Tolle discovered the exact opposite. He discovered that the obsessive pursuit of solving problems is exactly what creates more problems. It's like trying to get out of quicksand by struggling. The more you fight, the deeper you sink. Did you know there's a fundamental difference between pain and suffering? Pain is inevitable. It happens. It's part of the human experience. You lose someone you love. You face financial difficulties. You have health problems. That's pain, and it's natural. But suffering is completely optional. Suffering is created by your resistance to what's happening now, by your refusal to accept reality as it is. Think about it. How many times have you suffered more thinking about something than actually experiencing something? How many times has your mind created 1,000 terrible scenarios that never happened? How many times have you tortured yourself with painful memories of the past, reliving situations that ended years ago? How many times have you agonized over future possibilities that exist only in your imagination? That thing you call "I'm anxious," or "I'm depressed," or "I'm worried," Tolle shows you that it's not true. You are not anxious. You're observing anxiety appearing and disappearing within you. You are not depressed. You are noticing sadness moving through your being. You are not worried. You are witnessing worry arising in your consciousness. And who is this you that observes all this? Who is this you that is aware of the thoughts without being the thoughts? Who is this you that perceives the emotions without being dominated by them? Therein lies the secret that changed Steve Jobs' life. There's the stillness that heals. There's your true identity. But this is nothing compared to what he discovered about psychological time. Because 99% of your suffering comes from a place that literally doesn't exist. You live in the past or the future, almost never in the present. Your mind is always carrying you to somewhere that isn't here, to some moment that isn't now. And then you suffer, because in the past dwells guilt, remorse, anger over things that can no longer be changed, painful nostalgia for times that will never return. In the future dwells anxiety, fear of what might go wrong, worry about events that may never happen, anguish over having no control over what's to come. But do you know where peace resides? In the only place where life really happens. In this exact moment, in this breath, in this heartbeat, in this instant where everything is possible and nothing is truly lacking. Tolle realized something that neuroscience only proved decades later. Psychological time is an illusion created by the human mind. In reality, there is only this eternal moment. This now that never began and will never end. This present. That is the only thing that truly exists. If you are anxious now, stop everything you are doing. Stop. Feel your body occupying space. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor. Feel the air slowly entering your lungs. Notice the sounds around you. Notice the space between you and the walls. See, for a few seconds, the anxiety simply disappears. Because anxiety needs psychological time to exist. It needs future projections, what ifs. What if this goes wrong? And in the pure present, it simply finds nowhere to hold on. This is what Steve Jobs practiced for an hour a day. Not complicated meditation techniques, not elaborate rituals, not mantras in ancient languages, just the simple, direct return to what is real, to what is here, to what never truly left. The present moment is like your original home. You can travel far away, you can get lost in complex mental landscapes, but it's always here, waiting for your return. But there's something even deeper coming, something about your true identity that will completely shock you. Who do you think you are? Your name, your age, your profession, your nationality, your successes, your failures, your qualities, your flaws, your personal history, your current problems, your future goals. Eckhart Tolle will show you that all of this is merely what you carry, like baggage, but it's not who you truly are. Have you ever noticed that there's something within you that never changes? When you were 5 years old, there was something, observing through your eyes, something that was conscious of your experience. At 15, at 25, at 35, at 50, always the same silent observer. This observer doesn't age, doesn't get sick, doesn't worry, doesn't suffer. It simply is present, witnessing everything with unshakable serenity. That observer is you, the real you. Not the person with 1,000 problems that needs fixing, not the agitated mind that needs controlling or silencing, not the ego that needs feeding with achievements and recognition, but the pure, serene consciousness that observes all of this happening with a peace that nothing can touch. Tolle's most revolutionary discovery was this: you don't need to free yourself from your thoughts. You just need to realize you are already free from them. You don't need to control your emotions. You just need to recognize that you are the space where they appear and disappear. You don't need to find peace. You need to stop running away from the peace that is already your most fundamental nature. And you know what's even more incredible? What I'm telling you isn't philosophical theory. It's not an abstract concept. It's not something you'll understand only with your mind. It's your direct experience, this very moment. If you stop thinking for a few seconds and just feel, just be present with what is, you will touch that peace. It's there. It has always been there, patiently waiting for you to stop. searching in all the wrong places, but there's a specific technique that Tolle teaches to access this stillness instantaneously in any situation. And I'm going to show you now how Steve Jobs and millions of other people use this to transform any moment of suffering into pure presence. The technique is so simple that your conditioned mind will try to complicate it, but resist that temptation. Because simplicity is where true power resides. The mind loves complexity, but consciousness loves absolute simplicity. When the next wave of anxiety, anger, sadness, or frustration comes, do exactly this. Don't try to change it. Don't try to control it. Don't try to understand it. Don't try to make it go away. Simply acknowledge its presence by saying internally, anxiety is here, or anger is here, or sadness is here. Not, I am anxious, but anxiety is here. Can you feel the subtle yet revolutionary difference? In the first case, you completely identify with the emotion. You become it. You are sucked into its energy. In the second case, you consciously position yourself as the space where it appears, the sky where this emotional cloud is passing, and in that infinite space, you are completely free. Tolle calls this the power of now. But be careful not to turn this into another mental concept. It's not something you achieve through intense effort. It's not a skill you develop with years of practice. It's something you recognize instantaneously, like recognizing the blue sky that has always been there behind the darkest clouds. The sky doesn't fight the clouds. It doesn't try to forcefully expel them. It simply is there, immense, infinite, unchanging, while they pass naturally. Steve Jobs understood this profoundly. That's why he could maintain crystal-clear clarity even in the most complex decisions, even under extreme pressure from investors and competitors. He didn't try to solve everything with just his overheated analytical mind. He accessed something much deeper and infinitely more intelligent, the silence that knows without needing to think. The intelligence that doesn't need time to reach perfect conclusions, and you can do this right now, this moment. Close your eyes for a few seconds. Don't search for silence, because searching is already compulsive mental movement. Just notice the silence that already exists naturally behind all your thoughts, not the silence that is simply the absence of sound, the silence that is living presence, pure consciousness pulsating. Did you feel it, even for a fleeting instant? That's you. That has always been you. You had just temporarily forgotten. But there's something that 99% of people do completely wrong when they try to live in the present. And this fundamental error keeps them trapped exactly where they don't want to be. Most people try to force the present moment. They make a tremendous and tiring effort to be here and now. They intensely concentrate to be mindful. They violently fight against thoughts to meditate correctly, but the present cannot be forced. It can only be recognized with absolute gentleness. It's like trying to force sleep. The more effort you make, the more awake and agitated you become. The present is not a special place where you go. It's not an altered state you reach after much effort. It's not a mystical experience you have sporadically. It's where you have always been. You don't need to arrive at the now. You need to stop running away from it through compulsive and unnecessary mental activity. Tolle discovered that every form of mental suffering, absolutely every form, without a single exception, is a form of resistance to the present moment. You suffer because you want this moment to be different from what it is. You suffer because your mind is constantly creating a should that doesn't exist in reality, only in your conditioned imagination. I should be happier right now. This shouldn't be happening to me now. He should understand me better. I should be more financially successful. Life should be easier and more pleasurable. People should be more fair and understanding. Each should is a small declaration of war against life as it really is. And you always lose these wars. Always. Without exception. because you are fighting against what is already real, against what is already happening, against the fundamental and immutable nature of existence. Deep and permanent liberation comes when you finally stop fighting against reality. When you say with total sincerity, "Okay, life, this moment is exactly as you chose it to be, and I accept it completely, without reservation." Not because you necessarily like what's happening, but because you intelligently recognize that resisting what is already real is completely useless and only generates additional layers of unnecessary suffering. This radical acceptance is not cowardly passivity. It's not defeatist surrender. It's not lazy conformity. It's pure intelligence in action. It's recognizing that emotional resistance to what has already happened or what's happening now is completely useless and only adds suffering to the original situation. And in that deep and courageous acceptance, an inner space automatically arises, a sacred breath, a peace that doesn't depend at all on external circumstances. But what Eckhart Tolle discovered later about the true nature of problems will change your relationship with difficulties forever. You know what humanity's biggest problem is? It's not bloody wars. It's not extreme poverty. It's not incurable diseases. It's not environmental destruction. The biggest problem is that people think they have real problems. Let this absolutely revolutionary statement sink deep into your consciousness like a seed of liberation. You don't have true problems. You have neutral situations. And situations are completely neutral by nature. They simply are what they are, without judgment, without drama, without emotional history. The problem is always and exclusively the judgment your conditioned mind makes about the situation, the dramatic story of resistance it obsessively tells about what's happening. Eckhart Tolle teaches with absolute clarity that there is only what is, and the mental story you tell about what is, suffering always comes from the invented story, never from what's actually happening. If you can stop telling the dramatic story for a few precious moments and just look directly at what's really happening without distorted mental filters, you'll discover something absolutely surprising, almost always, at the level of the pure present moment. Everything is perfectly fine, even when, objectively, everything isn't fine in your external life. You are fine, the true and immortal. You are the conscious and serene observer. This indestructible core of your being has never been truly touched by any external storm, never truly wounded by any physical or emotional pain, never diminished by any apparent failure. It simply watches everything pass with infinite compassion and an absolutely unshakable peace. What I'm revealing to you isn't cheap consolation for weak people. It's not superficial positive thinking to deceive the naive. It's the most radical and liberating truth that exists in the universe. You are not who you think you are. You are much bigger, much freer, much more powerful, and much more peaceful than any limiting story your mind obsessively tells about you. And there's one last revelation that will completely free you from any neurotic need for external validation, from any sick compulsion for the approval of others. Prepare yourself, because this will shake everything you've ever believed about personal identity. You spend a giant and unnecessary amount of energy every day trying to maintain a carefully constructed image of yourself, for others and for yourself. I'm a successful and respected person. I am intelligent and competent. I am a good moral person. I am someone who has everything under perfect control. I am special and unique. I am loved and valued by everyone. But Eckhart Tolle realized something completely revolutionary that changed everything. This I, that constantly needs to maintain a perfect image, is not the real you. It's the artificial ego. And the ego isn't a real and solid entity. It's just a fragile set of repetitive thoughts about you, not you yourself. It's like a projected shadow that you tragically confuse with your real body. The real you doesn't need to prove absolutely anything to anyone, doesn't need to be special or unique, doesn't need to be perfect or irreproachable, doesn't need to be understood or approved, doesn't need to be recognized or valued, doesn't need to be conditionally loved. It simply is, naturally. And in that simple and spontaneous being resides a fundamental and untouchable dignity that no external achievement can give, and no failure can ever take away. When you finally stop desperately trying to be someone impressive and simply are who you are, something extraordinary and magical happens. People begin to feel your authentic and magnetic presence, not your carefully rehearsed performance, not your perfect social mask, your real and living presence. And genuine presence is 1,000 times more powerful and attractive than any artificial character you can exhaustively represent. Steve Jobs had exactly this magnetic and transformative presence. That's why he could convince skeptical investors, inspire entire teams to work 16 hours a day, create revolutionary products that changed the world forever, not because he was perfect or infallible, not because he never made serious mistakes, but because he was genuinely present, connected with something real and infinitely powerful. Beneath all superficial and temporary appearances, you can develop this same magnetic and transformative presence, not through manipulative persuasion techniques, not through expensive leadership courses, not through artificial personality development, but through the simple, direct, and immediate recognition of who you have always been eternally beneath. All the roles you play, all the masks you defensively use, all the limiting stories you tell about yourself. And here's the most beautiful and liberating paradox of all. When you completely stop trying to impress people, you naturally become genuinely impressive. When you stop desperately trying to be special, you discover that you are already profoundly unique and irreplaceable. When you stop seeking love in a neurotic and needy way, you realize that your own essential nature is made of unconditional and inexhaustible love. So the next time your mind starts creating unnecessary drama, anxiety about the uncertain future, compulsive worry, remember this fundamental and revolutionary truth. You are not the actor lost in the mental drama. You are the conscious and serene stage where the temporary drama happens. And the stage is never really affected or damaged by the play being performed on it. Breathe deeply and consciously. Feel the infinite and peaceful space that you are. Feel the eternal silence that instantly heals. Because at this very moment, regardless of what is happening in your external and circumstantial life, everything you have always desperately sought in all the wrong places is already here. It's already you. It has always been you from the beginning. This is the profound secret that Steve Jobs took an hour a day to completely absorb and integrate into his life. This is the stillness that can literally heal your soul in 60 seconds or less. Not because you will magically gain something new that you didn't have before, but why will you finally stop losing what has always been eternally and unquestionably yours? If this message touched something real and deep within you, it's because that precious something has been patiently waiting for years, to be finally recognized. Share it with someone special, someone who desperately needs a reminder of who they truly are, beneath all the unnecessary suffering. And come back here whenever you forget this liberating truth. Because forgetting is part of the normal human experience. Remembering, too, the healing stillness isn't somewhere far off. It's here, now, within you, as you being you, forever. Think of it like this. Eckhart Tolle speaks of the present moment as a sanctuary, a refuge from the turbulent sea of your mind. It's a place of peace, a place where the tormenting thoughts and overwhelming emotions lose their power. This stillness, this present moment, is not a destination you reach. It's a state of being, a recognition of your inherent connection to something far greater than the incessant chatter of your mind. Think of Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, Jim Carrey. These incredibly successful individuals each face their own inner battles, their own moments of profound doubt and uncertainty. Yet they found a way to harness the power of inner stillness, to tap into a wellspring of creativity and resilience that propelled them to extraordinary heights. Their journeys remind us that true success, lasting fulfillment, isn't found in the external world, but in the cultivation of inner peace, a peace that's accessible to all of us. Regardless of our circumstances, this inner peace, this sanctuary of the present moment, is not about ignoring your problems or pretending they don't exist. It's about shifting your relationship with them. Instead of being swept away by the tides of anxiety and fear, you learn to observe them, to witness them from a place of stillness, a place of unshakable inner calm. This is the power Eckhart Tolle speaks of, the ability to transcend the limitations of your mind and connect with the boundless potential of your true self. And this potential, this inherent goodness, is always there, waiting to be discovered, waiting to be embraced. It's time to claim your birthright. It's time to choose stillness. Imagine your mind as a turbulent sea, a raging storm. Your thoughts, your emotions are the waves, constantly crashing, endlessly churning. But beneath the surface, beneath the chaos, lies a profound stillness, a deep, unwavering ocean current. That's where your true self resides. In that stillness, you find your strength, your clarity, your peace. It's a sanctuary you can always return to, no matter how stormy the waves above might get. It's the key to unlocking a life of purpose, of joy, of lasting fulfillment. Eckhart Tolle shows us the way. He guides us to this sanctuary, this inner stillness that is our true home. Are you ready to find it?